Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Women Issues. And I want to apologize for being late this afternoon. And before I go to introduce my guest today, I just quickly want to say something, and that is I want to talk about having a good life. What is a good life? A good life does not mean you have to have a lot of money in your account or live in the best house or ride the best car. A good life means doing what is right by yourself, doing what is right for you, what is right for your family, doing what is right for everybody. You know, they say that health is very important in our lives. And I want everyone to please look after themselves, take a very good care of your health. And to my guest today, I've got two handsome men. I call them my daddies. I want to say thank you for joining me in the studio today. I've got Mr. Marcus Williams all the way from Petersburg.
How you doing?
Thank you so much for joining me today. And I've got Oladeji Ibrahim Dawodu. I'm right, sir. Okay, thank you so much for joining me in the studio today. So before I go on, I will just allow Mr. Williams to introduce himself to my viewers. Okay.
I'm Marcus Williams. I'm a child of God and family man.
Thank you very much. And I'm going to go to Alaji Oladeji.
I don't need much introduce because most of the viewers are actually familiar with my face. I'm a producer and director at HeritageTV here. So it's been my pleasure of being a guest on this show. I'm being someone and I have to be here. So
Thank you very much. Believe me, it's not easy getting them to join me on the studio today. You know, when it comes to women issues, a lot of men don't want to get involved. So having them in the studio with me today, I would say yes, I did a good job. Thank you so much. And today, I want to be talking about a man, you know, who sent an email to me a few months ago. So I had to treat a story today because of it was constantly disturbing me to treat a story, even though it's not yet for a story because I've got more than 800 emails. So he wrote to me a few months ago. He said, "Hello, Josephine. By the way, my name is Josephine Ebenezer now, not Josephine. But then he wrote to me that, hello, Josephine. My name is Olawale. And mind your viewers, any names and any location I mentions are not real because we need to protect the identity of my client here. So I'm just going to give him a name, Mr. Olawale. He wrote to me a few months ago. He said he found out that he is HIV positive. And I asked him what happened. He said his work is the type of job that requires him to walk away from home. And when he's leaving home, he's always gone for 6 to 4 months. So he left home for the past 8 months now. So when he left home, he realized that he wasn't feeling well. After 3 months, he left home. So he went to visit the doctor. They gave him some medication. He came home. He said he still wasn't feeling well. So he now went back for a general test. So when he went back for a general test, that was when they discovered that he's HIV positive. So I said, okay, what happened? Where did you get the virus from? He said he knows that it was through his ways. That whenever he's not at home, he do hang out with some ladies, you know, all sorts of. And he said he knows that he got it through one of the ladies he used to hang out with. And now he said he is scared to tell his wife to go for HIV test because he believed that he might have infected the wife with HIV virus. So now he wants the public to advise him on what to do. Should he tell the wife to go for HIV test, or he said should he just disappear into the thin air and never get in touch with his wife again? He said because the wife has been disturbing him to come home. So I'm going to come to you, Mr. Marcos. What do you think he should do?
First of all, opinions are what they are. They are all opinions. And, so, when it gets to a situation like this,
Can you speak up a little bit?
when it gets to a situation of this magnitude, it does not need anybody's opinion.
Mm.
For me, it's now a spiritual thing. He has to tell the wife.
Yeah.
He owes it to his family to let them know. He has to accept within himself the mistakes he's made. And it's only God that can change anything. If we tell him what to do without leading him spiritual way, the way I know, which is the spiritual way, because he's done something, he's done a crime against God himself. First, by manipulating the family's life, lying, cheating, then it all what he got. And now he's asking us again that should he go on lying to the world without telling? No, he has to, I believe, whatever he does now, if he's a Christian or a Muslim, I should think he should go spiritual. And they might be able to help him reconcile with his spirituality with his God. Because if we give him opinions, if we tell him, my opinion is going to be different from yours.
Yeah.
It's going to be different from Oladeji.
Yeah.
So opinions are not facts. But the fact here is that he's done a lot of damage and he's put himself in danger by contracting AIDS. He owes it to himself, to his wife, to his family, at least to save face. And maybe from there, God might turn things around for him, or he has to accept his mistakes.
Thank you very much. I'm going to come to Oladeji. What do you think he should do?
Basically, the damage has been done.
Yeah.
And the consequences of this act is actually what he himself did. And by seeking for an advice, either to tell his wife or not to tell his wife, I don't think is what a reasonable person will think about. The first instance, before this damage was done, he could have think of seeking that kind of advice. Should I go, should I be reckless? Because that is the good word I want to use that, okay? Recklessness. Should I choose the life of being reckless? Or should I not use, should I choose a life of being a normal life? So those are the times that when you have friends, you look at your friends, you look at them. Should I join them in this kind of an act? We should know that every bad act has a consequence. So the consequence of it, you know, is what is going to be. So it's like the damage has been done. This damage has been done. For you to say you are not going to tell your wife, either he decided to tell his wife or he decided not to tell his wife, we know that everybody knows the consequences, and there are so many. The government worldwide, even United Nations, had actually been campaigning vigorously to educate people to know that it is dangerous even having intercourse without protection. So this issue of saying either anybody should give him any advice about his wife is his own decision. Only what we are going to do is that people should learn from what has happened. That's what I'm going to say. I'm not think I have any interest in engaging him in giving any advice.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question, Mr. Marcos. Do you think a man can be faithful to his wife in a marriage?
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. Why do you say that?
Because I'm a living. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. And I know that I'm Christmas. Because I was young. I was living, when I grew of age, I knew right from wrong. I knew the consequences of sleeping with women. I know what it entails. And I know men can be faithful. And I know women can be faithful. It's a choice thing.
Oladeji, what do you think, sir?
I'm really short of word on this honestly, because the issue of faithfulness is like before. Are you talking of a couple or
in the marriage?
In the marriage,
yes.
That is part of the duty of being faithful, because some men or some women are making mistake. The period of when they are choosing their spouse, that was the time that you decide, because this is the time you wanted to decide of being a serious person, coming into a relationship, going into a long life journey. So this time you choose well, and after choosing well, you have to know that okay, faithfulness has to be there.
Yeah.
And dedication, fairness, everything has come to. Only the problem is that many people do doubt some. I think some partners doubt each other. It has to do with kind of lifestyle.
So do you support a wife and a husband, married couples, do you support a man walking away from home?
Yes, I do. If you want, if that's what it entails for him to keep his family, why not? The woman too could be walking away from home. So that's allowable as well.
Oladeji, do you think it's a good idea for a man to be walking away from home where he has to live for 6 months, 4 months?
It's the nature of individual jobs. What about, for instance, those who are in the movie industry, whereby you have to go to location, go to some places. Even some people, for instance, like army or whatever, there's nothing bad in pursuing your vocation. So the most important aspect is that wherever you are at the extension of your family. Wherever you are, you have to see yourself as an ambassador. Then where you are in constant touch with your family. Nothing stops people from walking far away from home.
The fact that it
to keep himself. What is 4 months? Now, for someone like me, that was his choice. He chose to do it.
Okay. I know you're online and you're listening to us, Mr. Olawale. So, do you think he should just call his wife and tell his wife?
You don't say those kind of things on the telephone. You go home to your family. You sit down. You break down. You are at their mercy. You've done something terrible. And you just have to, I believe God will give you a way to, you have to go to your family. It's not a one-call stuff. I don't know how you're going to do it, but you just have to do it. That's the right thing to do.
So he should tell his wife?
Definitely.
Oladeji, what do you think?
I'm still on my earlier statement, because as I said earlier, the damage has been done already. And you see, no matter how you try to prevent what is inevitable, there's nothing could undo that. The best way for him to do now is like, although I have actually decided not to give any advice, but what a reasonable person would do is just like, let the situation be known to the wife. And as we're saying, we've read so many news. I mean, we've read series of news in the newspaper, or perhaps it's reading about. We've seen some couple that one is being infected and the other person was not infected. If thinking that maybe he had infected the wife, what gives him that assurance, or what gives him that proof? What evidence does he have to say that okay, your wife has been infected? Only what is most important for him now is that to let the situation know, and due to his kind of a recklessness style, he shouldn't go and at this moment when it has been clearly, confirmed that it's been positive, he shouldn't hide anything. He should let his wife know. Then his wife should undergo the test. Perhaps the woman may be lucky
not to have it.
So,
and if it does, that's why
if it does,
spirituality thing comes in. We all need to be together and stay together.
Thank you very much. And to me, I think what I have to add to that is I would say to you to tell your wife.
That's it.
And that is the first way to go. Yeah, we know that you have the virus now, but we're not sure yet if your wife has it or not. Tell your wife and let her go for a general test in the hospital. And even if your wife has it, there is still time to save the children. Because if she found that she has this HIV test, she won't know her way around the kids. As mothers, we try to give everything to our children. We don't even care, even if even if we're hot at the moment, or maybe we scratch ourselves with blood or anything. Even if our baby is crying, we want to carry the baby immediately. So there is still time to save the children if the wife is affected with this HIV, which we don't know for now. So I think you want to disappear into the thin air is not the right thing to do for now. I'm going to say to you that you should try, go home, speak to your wife, let her go for a checkup.
Even
that's the next thing to do.
Even that section of there is a law that guides it, that if it's been discovered that it's positive, he shouldn't hide it, or perhaps get
from anybody else.
Anybody around him.
It's a criminal offense. So it's not advisable. It's not either you like it or not. It has to come out openly, especially for the interests of others.
I say something. I don't know where the guy. I don't know where he's from. Whether he's a Yoruba man or whether he's a woman, but I'm going to just say one to me because I'm a Yoruba boy. He needs to go and sleep a deep sleep. Search his conscience. He knows what to do. So that's it.
Tobacco Oladeji, can you interpret that for me?
It means that whatever the situation, when you are alone, when you are alone, you should be able to decide things for yourself. When you are alone, it means that that is the time you will be able to, like somebody who is meditating, who go deep into meditation, that okay, what is going to be, because most of the time we say people advising. At the end of the day, you discover that the advice will be profound to people. People still go ahead to do what's tallying with what they wanted to do. So that is the interpretation.
Thank you very much. And before I go on to the next topic, I'm just going to say this to every man out there.
And women as well.
Yeah, you're very right, sir. You know what? Being faithful doesn't cost you a thing. Being faithful doesn't cost you a thing. But when you're not faithful, it costs you a lot of things. Not only your money, not only your time, it can even cost you your life. Like, we know that in the Muslim family, they are allowed to take more than one wife. As a man, you want to take another wife, just talk to your wife. That my religion allows me to marry more than one. Instead of going out there and putting it in every corner.
Regarding because this issue now, you said the person that you are advising, I think the way you're supposed to put it is it's not the issue of Muslim being allowed to marry more than one. But how about some other Christians themselves. They hide it. I read a story about Oladeji, the former manager of the Times Yoga. There are so many men that they are Christians. Until after their demise, they are too
Yeah,
many.
I know a lot of pastors
surface here and there.
That has kids everywhere. I'm not basing this on religion. I'm just trying to say that being faithful is good for your own health. I didn't mean this man in question is faithful. He won't found himself in this thing he found himself. And I didn't mean he want to take a second wife. This is something you will sit and talk to your wife. And as a second wife you want to take, you won't just take a wife in this modern day without going for a general check. To know your health status. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't mean he's faithful in the first place. He wouldn't found himself with this HIV virus. Even though I know that we can contract HIV virus through different means, not just through intercourse. But in his own case, he contracted through intercourse, which means he's not faithful.
He has actually established that.
Exactly. And from what he said to me, he said he knows that his wife is a faithful woman. So which is why I said, if you had wanted a second wife, just take a second wife, which you know that your wives, they are faithful, they are home for you.
But with his
anytime you
wife,
want
we have to put it in the constitution. Will his wife allow him to take a second
Me, for
wife?
one, I will not allow.
But will you allow your husband to take a second wife?
No, I won't.
Why?
No allergy.
You should.
No. No, me for one. Sorry, not for me.
Okay, what about other women out there who have not husbands?
Which is why I can't speak for all the women. But for me as a person, I know the level of what I can take.
What's bad in that?
I'm not saying anything is
I'm
bad.
not advocating.
I know, I'm not saying anything is bad, but seriously, I don't want a second wife. I want to be the first and the last wife. When it comes to my thing, I'm too selfish with my things. Most especially the things that I know I love and care about. I just want them for myself. And myself, with the things I love, I am. I'm not against anyone taking a second wife, but I'm just speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for other women. But to me, things that I love, I'm selfish, Tito. And we only live once. So this life, I want to enjoy it to the fullest. So once I know this thing is mine, hey, just stay there. Anyone now coming into my territory, Abba. And I will let my husband know before saying yes I do. I used to say this to my fiancé, say on that day that you'll be surprised what I'm going to read out. Me alone, I don't want wala.
It's a touch.
It's what I want.
I don't condone whether you have a wife or 2 or 3, that's your capabilities.
Yeah.
If God gives you the resources to be able to maintain that home.
I was listening to one imam.
Okay.
I used to listen to one imam from Ofa. I told you the other day that I was preaching. He was preaching about second wife. And this man said something that I really like. He said that, you know what? That most Muslim thinks that because God said yes, you're allowed to take many wives, they just keep taking wives, which they don't know that it's a sin. If you're taking so many wives and you cannot look after them properly, like the first wife needed money for school fees, the second wife needed money for feeding, and now you're now taking money from the school fees from the first wife giving to the second wife. That is a sin. That God says yes, you can have so many, but make sure that you're doing equally for them. But most of the things I see these days, they don't do equally. Which is why you see these women, they go after themselves.
That's why there's always
which is why you will see them start killing each other's children. They go after themselves a lot because the men are not doing equally among them. Any man that has the capability to do equally, please go for it. And any woman that is ready, to be second, third wife, it's your choice. I'm not against it. So if my husband now tells me you want to take a second wife, I will just sit him down. See, you are still lacking in this area.